Hey, I'm here with Rob Minnick of Minnick Heating and Cooling, and that is located in the Baltimore, Washington corridor. And if you've ever been stuck in traffic, you know exactly where I'm talking about.
Right.
And so I was lucky enough to work with Rob and his family. And coming from a family business that I thought had been around for a while, Rob is one of those as well. So Rob was really nice enough to take some time out today and kind of share with us about, how systems, and in particular the manuals, really work. And like I like to do, Rob, now is talk about the good old days, about 6 months ago. So share with us, because obviously Rob and I started when, really had to restructure and fix things at their company. And see, Rob and his brother, just a phenomenal job of going from there to where they are today and, where they got to. So Rob, share a little bit about how systems help take control, or whatever you want to share about systems and manuals and what it meant to your company.
Sure. Yeah. My pleasure, Al. And thank you for having me on. And what just popped into my head while you were making that introduction was what's ironic is that you started right after the last issue that we dealt with in 2008.
That was the good old days now, right?
Yes, that was the good old days.
Did you ever think you'd look back at that and go, wow, that wasn't so bad?
Yeah, that wasn't so bad. And yeah, it's just ironic that we're here today talking. And I just realized that that was 1 year after all that was happening. And we were scattered and running around trying to figure things out, and met you and got some process and procedures and manuals and so forth and all into play, and just been tweaking them ever since. And so when this whole virus thing came into play and things were just getting worse, I knew that I need to take our existing processes for our CSRs, for our technicians, every person within the company that we have our process and procedures on. It's just to tweak them and add in all the safety precautions that we need to take for our customers and for our employees within our company.
I think that makes a big difference, is that you are able to just tweak it, and rather than you're in the middle of this crisis and now all of a sudden you have to invent it. Would you agree with
Correct.
that? Yeah.
Yeah,
And
totally.
yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, I totally agree with that, because I've had so many people ask me like a week or two afterwards, because I mean, we started this a few weeks prior to the shutdown within our area. That good thing we're essential and we're able to work. Though when they shut down and everyone had to stay in their home, people were like, "Well, do you have any kind of procedures in place?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, we've had that out for a couple of weeks. We've put the email out to all of our customers, first letting them know that we're open, and then secondly,
Big props to you, because people have just assumed that they know. And I was sharing it, Natalie and I are trying to support our restaurants, Rob, and we don't know which ones are necessarily open. So good for you for letting people know that you're open.
yes." And worked with our marketing company, and it was like a big sign that's, "Hey, we're open, we're open, we're open," and going out. And though, of course, you still have the customers reaching out, "Are you open?" But then again, I guess those are the customers that don't have email or didn't look at it.
You
So,
can't make me read it or
right,
understand it.
right.
All you can do is control your own effort. And I think it's so great that you are so involved at this point to understand that, involving the marketing company now. Most people are just trying to cover themselves, and
Right.
no, this is the time. There's people are stuck home. They need services. But one of the great things that a number of my customers and even my franchisees have been doing is they're doing commercials where they show them what they've always done, but now to the new level. But what you're describing, about making it visual for the customer in social media, on TV buys, which right now things are really cheap. So that's kudos to you for knowing that. One of the things that you talked about, Rob, and I know for myself that we never had an org chart. I was third generation showing up to the business, and it was just everybody scramble. And one of the things we brought to you was the org chart. And to Rob's credit and his family's credit is how they sit in the building was designed around the org chart. So share for us a minute about the importance of an organizational chart and a depth chart.
Yeah, sure. So the biggest part is it lets everyone know who their boss is. Because the problem we had when we had, my brothers, I have two brothers, and my father was in the business. So there's four people with the last name Minnick, and everyone thinks that all four of them is their boss, in which we did have that problem, of course. So we had to come into realization that we're not in charge of everyone. We're in charge of our team and making sure that we're not stepping on each other's toes and going above and beyond the person that is in charge. So that was the first and foremost, and the important thing is letting our team know who's in charge so they know who to go talk to and making sure that they do that.
Yeah, I think that's big. What I used to say is on any given day, there were either not enough leavies or too many leavies. And that's
Right.
how the employees feel too, is because they just, well, who do I make happy here?
Exactly
And
right.
yeah, and so, with the org chart broken out into the branches, and what Rob and I are talking about is a very flat, it's not like a million things. It's not CIO, CTO, CFO, every other alphabet soup. It's what the boxes it takes to run your company. And Rob really embraced that, including the cross training. So talk about how cross training helps when you have manuals.
Yeah, so when you have people within in your business that can do multiple things within your business, you want to make sure that they're following the protocols if they are moving over into a different department to do some work, to make sure that they're operating per that department, because we don't want to go in and rock the boat and have them just do it their way. Make sure that first of all, they've gone through the training and then showed us that they know how to operate in that department. So then that way, when they are moved into that department, it's like just putting on a different hat and getting in back into the truck and going to do plumbing or going to do heating and cooling or what have you
Yes.
that day.
Yep. I forgot to mention plumbing. I apologize. But
No, that's fine.
it is what you talk about is having this, especially now, even with what I consider tough times. But COVID-19, if you lose somebody, somebody else is going to have to still write the checks, right?
Yep.
Somebody's going to have to put the invoices in. Somebody's going to have to do that. And with the org chart, that becomes the depth chart. Like if you ever played football and the center gets hurt, we don't stop snapping the ball. The next guy comes in and does that. And that's what we're speaking to, what Rob and I are talking to is with the org chart, that's your first step. And then it's first string, second string, third string. Well, how do you get them cross-trained? And the answer is with manuals. And then what Rob was sharing with you is that with the manuals, then we do the next step. They either tell us in a convincing way or better yet, show us that they can do those tasks in the manual so that we can check them off and know that we have depth at that position and we can still operate. Is that a fair way of saying it?
Yeah, very fair. And on top of that is that it also lets our team know where they can go. Because
That's a great point. Would you spend a minute about talking about the org chart and as you climb, what is that? How is that tied together?
So, I mean, from the first day of interviewing in person is we go through this with each person as well so that they understand who they're working for and who they're working with and how we operate. Because again, a lot of people come in thinking that they can just be a mechanic and that's where they're going to be. So when we meet with them, we let them show where they can go on the org chart. And they don't have to just go up the org chart. They can go up, to the left, to the right, whichever way they want to go. So again, they got to communicate that with their supervisor and let them know so then they can build the new plan for their destination. And I have even told people when I've interviewed them, like, you can go all the way up to my chair because I don't want to be in this chair my whole life. I have places I like to go myself. So you just need to let us know where you want to go. And of course, they get all excited and they like that. So again, this is not going to happen tomorrow. This will take some time. But again, we build this plan together, work the plan, and then one day you can be there. And if you decide halfway that you want to change the plan, that's okay. Again, just communicate it. Let's regroup and set up a new plan. So with all these, with the org chart, with having all the procedures and processes in place, the manuals, all that lets us be able to operate our team members and hold them accountable to those things, as well as developing the plan. So these are the rocks that help us succeed of where we need to go, as well as our employees.
I think it's great because, you know, a lot of people give lip service, Rob, to, oh, we promise a career, not a job. But no, that at Minnick's, they really make that true, a career, not a job. And what I think Rob is also talking about, it isn't just, oh, you know, let's give the techs the manuals, or let's give the CSR the manual, dispatch, which I think are the most important. We always start at the triangle of communication because those three are the most key. But the accounts receivable person, accounts payable person, the apprentice, the field supervisor, service manager, everybody on that org chart, like a bingo board, has got a manual to cover that, you know, that box. That a fair statement?
Yeah, very fair. And as well as the salary ladder, it also ties in with the org chart, and it also lets them know what they need to get done to move up the ladder or to move sideways or whichever way they want to go. It lays out the requirements of what they need to get done to move up, instead of them coming and giving us your best statement ever, the 5 o'clock knock.
Share with people what the 5 o'clock knock is.
Well, I'm sure most of the people are not familiar with this. So again,
Never
I
happened
know
to them.
we've been through this, is that, you know, it's middle of August and it's 99 degrees outside, 72% humidity. And your best guy comes to you on Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock, and he comes to your door and he does the, you know, got a minute? And mama needs a new pair of shoes, daddy needs a new motorcycle, what have you. I need more money.
I hear you.
If there's no requirements of what they need to get done to give them more money, then all you have is, I guess I got to give them money because I don't want to lose them.
And that takes me back to my days of being a hostage. I hated it. Yes. I hated them, Rob. I got to tell you, I hated them for doing that to me. But ultimately, I realized who the blame was me. I never defined for grown-ups about how do I move up? What do I have to do? And all of it builds on the manuals and the org chart that we're talking about. Without that, you're always going to be in this awful position. And Rob has the skills now to build the kind of people like that are stepping up in this kind of situation. They've always stepped up in these and really turned our company is how I feel it, really turned our company around and got us going where we want. And we're going to come out of this even stronger is how I feel.
Yes, and it also removes the handcuffs to where we're not tied and hunkered down and handcuffed to our employees or to our vendors or whoever, because if we don't put what we want to happen in play and document it and follow it, then we're just you know, guiding. We're just flying through the air with no destination.
Yeah, I'm going to leave this and close off on one of Rob's best lines, because this is Rob spit this back out to me after we were working, is our obligation is to get you good or get you gone. We're good with either way. Now, it sounds mean-spirited, but it's not. We don't want people to struggle and not have a good life. And if you can't ever be successful, maybe there's some other place out there for you. But this is how we play. And the other thing is A and B players do not want to play long-term with C and D players. So you either get the C and D players good or you get them gone and the company will be better. Hey, Rob, thanks for sharing the time with us today. It was really helpful.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you very much, Al.
All right. Stay safe.
You as well.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.